It's time for Mac Stories Unwind, the show that's all about the picks. I'm John Voorhees, and with me is Federico Vitici. Hey, Federico.
Hello, John. How are you?
Doing really well. It's Friday. Actually, it's Thursday. We're recording this, so it's a little echoey here in this room because I just moved into a new place and I don't have furniture yet. But by next week, I should. So apologies for any reverb in my voice today. But we've got picks. We couldn't skip a week and not have picks. So I'm going to let you lead off, Federico, because I think you've got a fun movie for everybody.
Well, yeah, this is the kind of movie. I gotta be honest. Knowing your wife Jennifer's tastes when it comes to romantic comedies and these kind of easy movies that you can turn off your brain and just watch them for 90 minutes.
Yep,
this is totally Jennifer's kind of movie.
It very much is.
Sylvia and I, a few days ago, we were looking for something super easy to just watch. At the end of the day, and we've been so busy lately with different things, we cannot commit to anything serious right now in terms of story or like general mood. We just want an easy romantic comedy. So this movie is called Marry Me, and it's a movie starring Jennifer Lopez and Owen Wilson. This movie came out, I think, last holiday season, December 2021. Wikipedia says it's a 2022 film. I just found it on the iTunes store, which is where I go. I mentioned this before. Whenever I'm into this kind of easy movies, we don't have a Netflix subscription anymore.
Really?
We actually can't. Yeah, we canceled our Netflix subscription a couple of months ago. Just because, and this is totally an aside, but I have increasingly felt like Netflix is full of junk. And there's a few gems here and there. But basically, every time I was opening Netflix, and mind you, I was paying like 18 euros a month or something for the 4K family plan, I guess. But like, you open Netflix and there's tons of like these movies and TV shows that everything looks similar to each other. And nothing grabs my attention. And I don't know if it's like the content or the design of like the way that the content is presented to you. But I was like, my experience with Netflix for the past few months was I open Netflix and I just click, scroll, click, nothing grabs my attention. And it's like, it's an infinite sea of stuff and nothing really jumps out at me. And so eventually I realized, why am I still paying for this if I'm not interested in any of the Netflix originals? And this is not to say that there's no quality stuff on Netflix. I'm sure there is, but it's just, I guess, our interests are not aligned with the kind of content that Netflix is putting out. And we're getting by just fine with Apple TV Plus and purchasing the old-fashioned way TV shows from the iTunes store. Also, like, I realized that the kind of the way that we watch TV, and this is necessary context, Sylvia and I, we usually have 30 minutes or an hour to watch TV before bed, right? Before she goes to sleep, and then I play some video games, and then I also go to sleep. So before going to sleep, I don't want to watch something, that lasts almost 3 hours, or like it features violent scenes, or has like serious themes and concepts. I just want to turn off my brain and watch something easy. I realize that not all people are like me, and a lot of people are just fine watching dramas and thrillers right before going to sleep. That just doesn't work for us. So anyway, I went into the iTunes store and I saw that this movie, Marry Me, was available for rent at $5, and I just rented the movie. So in this movie, Marry Me, so Jennifer Lopez plays pop superstar Kat Valdez. She's had a series of high-profile marriages, and all of them failed. And being a very public figure, she's this kind of joke in the media, where like Jimmy Fallon is making fun of her for all the marriages that she's had. And the movie starts with Kat Valdez being engaged to this other Latin American singer named Bastian. And I don't know why, but they decide that they're gonna have this televised like marriage, like wedding ceremony. They're gonna have a live wedding ceremony at a concert that's gonna be live streamed to 20 million people. That's the gist of how the movie starts. Kat Valdez is gonna have her fourth wedding, and it's gonna be live streamed during a concert. The problem is that just before walking on stage, an article comes out on page 6 where there's photographs of this Bastian guy kissing Kat Valdez's assistant. And so she walks on stage and she's very emotional, and she obviously doesn't want to marry this guy anymore. And so she looks at the audience, and everybody, like, people know because everybody's checking out their phones and they're looking at her and be like, what is she gonna do now? Does she know? Does she not know about this article that just came out on page 6, and it's all over Twitter and Instagram? And so instead of going ahead and marrying Bastian, she sees in the audience this random guy who's played by Owen Wilson. His name is Charlie Gilbert, and Charlie Gilbert is a math teacher. Specifically, he is a math teacher at elementary school, middle school, maybe. And he has this course for mathletes, which, by the way, the mathletes is such an American thing to me. I don't think it exists in Italy. And the mathletes, I keep seeing, it's one of those American movie and TV show stereotypes for me. Like, of course, there's the math club and the mathletes and the championships for the mathletes. But anyway, he's the kind of guy, he's a single father, is divorced, has a young daughter. She's like 10 or 11 or something. And the young daughter really wants to go to the concert. And so the dad, Charlie, because he's afraid that his daughter thinks he's now this boring, divorced father, he says, fine, I guess I'll come to the wedding with you and a colleague. So the colleague had prepared before the concert a sign that said, marry me. And the context of this is that for this live streamed wedding, they were also going to perform a choreography on their, Kat Valdez and Bastian for their new joint single called Marry Me. So they had created a song called Marry Me that's about the two of them, and they're getting married on stage at a concert after performing the song. So for whatever reason, the colleague is like, hey, can you hold this sign for me for a second? So Charlie, being totally unaware of the situation, is like, yeah, whatever, I guess I'm just holding this sign. In that moment, Kat Valdez obviously doesn't want to go ahead with the wedding, and she looks at the audience and says, I'm gonna marry you. So all the cameras turn to Charlie, and it's like, wait, what? It's like, go, come on, go on stage. And she decides to marry on stage a random guy from the audience, just out of spite for Bastian, I guess. So now Charlie is immediately taken into this different reality of the media and influencers and, assistants, PR people, paparazzi following him around. And he says yes, because he figures, maybe this is just a joke, and maybe this lady is having a moment right now. Maybe I can just help her out. But he doesn't realize that this marriage is for real. And there's papers being signed after the concert. And he's like, wait, no, I just wanted to do you a favor. I want no part in this. But then they decide, let's just see how it goes. We put up this ruse for the media for a couple of weeks. And we get to know each other, and we see how it goes. So for a couple of weeks, they pretend to be a couple. And as you can imagine, as with any romantic comedy, things change. I don't want to spoil the movie, but basically the idea is that they get to know each other, and then some other complications arise because Bastian is back in the picture. Look, it's a rom-com. I think you know how it ends, but it's still enjoyable. And if anything, I think it's not a great movie, right? It's not an amazing movie. It's a fine movie, made better This is the thing that saves this movie is the original songs and obviously the performance by Jennifer Lopez, because she acts, she sings, she dances, she does it all, and she's incredible. So I'm huge, both Sylvia and I, we really like Jennifer Lopez as an actress, as a singer, as a dancer. So that's the saving grace of this movie is Jennifer Lopez's performance. Owen Wilson is fine, but I wouldn't say this is an amazing movie. It's a fine rom-com if you're looking for that kind of stuff to turn off your brain for 90 minutes and just enjoy some, Jennifer Lopez doing things.
Yeah, that was my sense of this movie as well, although I didn't know what the premise was. So it's kind of fun to hear the premise. I'm intrigued. Maybe this is something after a long weekend of unpacking furniture and boxes, I'll want to veg out and watch that for a little while.
Look, Jennifer will like it. I'm not sure about you.
I know. She may have already seen it. I actually don't even know.
For sure.
I can't even keep up with her watching habits. Well, Federico, because I was in the midst of moving, I have not watched or played anything in a while. But I was on an 11-hour car ride from Chicago to North Carolina and had plenty of time to listen to things. And just as a backdrop, I found a really nice mix of things. I listened to podcasts, of course. A lot of them were video game podcasts. I caught up on a lot of episodes of Into the Ether and Triple Click that I hadn't listened to. Really enjoyed those. I listened to some Apple News audio, which I recommended on this show before. Just listening to some long form audio. There was a New Yorker article about, no, it wasn't New Yorker. It was a Sports Illustrated story about pickleball, which is a weird version of kind of, I guess, tennis in the United States that has become really popular all of a sudden. And it was nearly an hour long, perfect for a long car ride. And of course, I listened to music. And what I'm here to recommend today is Down by the River Thames by Liam Gallagher. So, and this album is a live album that was recorded on a barge on the River Thames in London in December of 2020, right in the midst of lockdowns during COVID. So this is a COVID album, of course, and it's full of great old Oasis songs as well as Liam Gallagher songs. And I don't know how it was that I didn't realize that this, I guess, was live streamed back in December 2020.
Yes.
And did you see it, Federico?
I think I did, yeah.
Yeah, I did not. And I think it was probably because at this time I was traveling to Ireland for a couple of weeks, and that was kind of a chaotic period of time. And so I missed this. But the album, it just came out as an album just about, 2-3 weeks ago, something like that. And it's really good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, the reviews of the live stream were quite good because I guess it was really nicely filmed as he floated down the River Thames with no audience, but really great views of the skyline of London at sunset. But there's a lot of, let's see, what are some of the tracks on here? I mean, it starts out with Hello, and you can't go wrong with that. Yeah. I mean, Hello is literally one of my all-time favorite Oasis songs. I mean, it's not, Wonderwall or Champagne Supernova, which are probably the two biggest, most popular songs that Oasis ever did. But I love Hello, and so that's great right off the bat. But we've got Halo and a bunch of, I guess, so a lot of this, you probably are more hip to this than me, Federico, but a lot of these are early Oasis songs in at least the first part of this set. And then, though, it kind of transitions into Morning Glory, Cigarettes and Alcohol, another great track, Supersonic, and Champagne Supernova. And then, but then it closes with All You're Dreaming Of, which is a Liam Gallagher tune, which I absolutely love, right? That's one that came out, I think it was last fall or around the holiday season that tune came out. And it's one of my favorite Liam Gallagher solo songs. And that closes out the album. It's 16 tracks in total, a little over an hour. And if you are, if you're a Liam Gallagher or Oasis fan, this is definitely an album worth checking out because I think the production of the album is super well done. And I love most of these are some of my favorite songs. So I had a great time listening to that.
Yeah, some fun details from the set list for longtime Oasis fans that I just wanted to mention. He did Head Shrinker, which is a very old B-side. I think it was included on the Master Plan album collection of B-sides. Head Shrinker, really old song. He also did Columbia as the third song, and Columbia is from definitely maybe the first Oasis album.
Yep.
And if you are an Oasis fan, you know that the coda of Columbia, the final part of Columbia, is also very reminiscent of Be Here Now. There's a very familiar bridge in the end of Columbia and the bridge of Be Here Now, which is a later song from 1997. And he also did Fade Away. Fade Away has to be my all-time favorite Oasis B-side. It's also included on the Master Plan album. I love Fade Away. And he started doing it again a few years ago, right about the time when he started doing Slide Away again. So it's a great set list. It's got a few new entries, obviously. But yeah, I watched this live, and I'm partial to Hello and Champagne Supernova, obviously, but all the other, like Head Shrinker, Fade Away, like if you're a longtime Oasis fan, you're gonna be happy with this live album.
Yeah, I didn't know Head Shrinker, but that's really great tune too. I also want to do just a mini preview of an album that is coming out today as this is being released, because we're recording this on Thursday, but on Friday the 24th, Sometimes Forever by Soccer Mommy is coming out. And I only mention this because I have a feeling this is going to be one of my favorite albums of the year. There are a couple of tracks on here. There's only been 4 released total so far, and it's an 11-track album that comes out tomorrow, as I said. But Bones and Shotgun are 2 of my favorite tracks of 2022 so far, especially Bones. I just really, really love how this song kind of starts out nice and quiet and a little slow, and picks up steam and has a great guitar solo at the end. And Shotgun is more of a bass heavy song that has a great chorus too. That's really hooky, which I really like. Soccer Mommy is probably one of my favorite bands from the last few years. And the last album that came out was one of my favorites of whenever that was, maybe 2019, 2020. And this album looks like it's going to be a great follow-up to that. So keep an eye out for that on Friday the 24th. All right, Federico, that's it for this episode of Mac Stories Unwind. You can find me and Federico over at macstories.net. Federico is on Twitter and Instagram, where he's at Viticci. That's VITICCI. And I'm at John Voorhees. JOHNVOORHEES. Talk to you next week, Federico.
Ciao, John.